Hey, what's going on? My name is Mike Acosta from BPM Sounds, and in this edition of Sounds Sessions, we're going to be taking a look at how to add a much more humanized swing to your drums. So here we are in Ableton Live 10, and here is our drum track, and this is what we are starting out with. So we're going to take it from this, and then we're going to end up with this. Okay, so here's our original track here, and as you can see, we have 3 different samples that we've loaded within Ableton Sampler. Here's the first one. Second sample, you can see it's panned a little bit to the left, and our third sample is panned a little bit to the right. All of the samples here are all being triggered at the same time on the downbeat using eighth notes. So when we play it together, okay, now on our second track where we have the final result, okay, let's take a look at our notes here. Notice that we're still using eighth notes. We haven't changed anything within the actual notes. And if I play it, it's still swinging and it's got some random variations and everything, but yet the notes are all eighth notes. How do we do that? Let's dig right into it. So here we are on our original track. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to add Ableton's Arpeggiator to this track, okay? So here we are, here's the Arpeggiator. And the first thing that we want to do under the style, let's choose chord trigger. We're going to leave the groove straight. And here's our rate, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the sync, all right? We don't want it synced to our tempo, so we're going to turn it off so that it's free. So if I was to play this right now, you can see that the arpeggiator is triggering it at 10 milliseconds, so it's constantly repeating. So the best thing to do is let's take our rate and adjust it to where we get a nice feel for our rhythm. Okay, so there we are, about 200 milliseconds is where we're getting that nice swing. But as you can hear, as we were kind of sweeping up, there were other areas where it had some funky little grooves and stuff, and we could totally use that as well. The other thing that we want to do is we also want to adjust the gate. So now, obviously, there are different settings within the gate where you can hear a little bit more of the other samples, and then there's times as you close the gate even tighter that you can't hear it. So how do we get all of the randomization happening? If we just leave it on these static settings, that's the way it's going to sound, right? So the next thing that we want to do is we want to use Max for Live's LFO. All right. Now, this is going to require that you have Ableton Live Suite. So if you have Ableton Live 10 Suite, then great, you've got the Max for Live devices. If you're on Ableton Live 9, if you purchased Max for Live, then cool, you have that device in there as well. So here we are, Max for Live. We're going to look at our MIDI effects, and what I'm going to do is grab the LFO, and I'm going to drop that right down here. All right. Now, essentially, the LFO is kind of like musical automation for synthesizers. That's really all it is you can have it sync to your tempo that you're working on, and you can have an LFO move and modulate certain parameters within a synth, right? So we're going to do the same thing here, but we want to use the LFO to control a couple of parameters in the arpeggiator. So what we're going to do is we're going to map. So we'll click on map there, and we're going to map the LFO to the arpeggiator's gate, okay? We're going to set the rate fairly low to about 31. And we're also going to reduce the depth. All right, and what we're going to do is also give it a little bit of jitter, so it adds a little bit more random variation. And we're also going to adjust the offset to minus, let's say, And the offset, all it does is, it restricts the range that the LFO is going to be sweeping. So if we only wanted to move between a certain range, then we want to set the offset so that we keep it within that range. And so now if you take a look, you can see that the gate is randomly moving up and down. And that's exactly what we want. We don't want it to be synced to music. We just kind of want it to randomly kind of just move all around the space. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a second LFO. And this one we're actually going to assign to the rate. So we're going to map, click on rate. And now what this is going to do is, as you heard when we were first sweeping through the rate, you heard a bunch of different grooves. As the arpeggiator was triggering, it was creating a rhythm. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of switch between a few different rhythms so that over time throughout the track, it's constantly changing. Our ears will always be interested because it's not going to be the same rhythm throughout the track. So what we want to do here is we're going to set the depth really low. So let's put that at about 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the offset now to the right side. And let's do that at about 33. All right. And we're going to change our rate to about 24. So about right there. And we can even smooth this a little bit. And as you can see now, the gate is moving up and down randomly. And the rate is moving just within, I'd say, between 223 to about 199 to about 230. And so now when we play this, this is what it sounds like. So you can hear that the different percussion parts are coming out at different times. The swing is constantly moving a little bit, and the gate is also opening up, which allows us to hear different elements of the layered samples. And this is really cool because over time, it won't get really stagnant or boring. So here is the original. So now let's play it all together. And right now we're going to play it with the original hi-hats, and then we'll replay it with the swinging lazy hi-hats. Okay, so it's not bad. You know, it's cool. It's got a nice groove to it, you know, with the bass line and everything. So here it is now with the swinging hi-hats on it that we just did. And here's the difference. All right. So there you go. There's really no wrong way. Again, you could totally adjust this to however you like, but I think it's a really great way to kind of come up with some different rhythms and swings, especially if you're new to producing and you're not quite sure how to actually play or program, you know, swinging hi-hats and using the different types of quantizers. This is a really simple way to get some nice swings, you know, going right away, and you can change it at any time, and you don't have to change any of the note structures or anything like that. Like, it's, again, they're all eighth notes. It's really the arpeggiator and the LFO that's swinging and moving everything around. So it's just a really cool trick that you can try using. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and learned something from it. All of the sounds that are in here, this is all content from BPM Sounds, which again will be coming to you this summer of 2020. You'll be able to get all of these different drum sounds, pianos, vocals, all of this stuff is on BPM Sounds. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, make sure you subscribe down below so you're constantly up to date with everything that is BPM Supreme and BPM Sounds. My name is Mike Acosta from BPM Sounds, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.